This is Michel via ten sorbet, and this is a new episode of Wojennik TV. I am a huge fan of the Napoleonic period. I always with great anxiety observed new games covering this topic. I played them with great pleasure. I studied books. I studied comic books from my early years. Not a lot of games on our channel are covering this topic because we primarily focus on World War II, because this is also the most common subject of war games. But we have a few war games covering the Napoleonic periods, which were presented also on Wojennik TV. This will be another one, because today I would like to invite you to a new unboxing of a game published in 2014, and this game will be Legion of Honor. Legion of Honor is an exceptional game, a game which has really a new approach when it comes to wargaming and when it comes to wargames in general, because this will not be a game in which you will be using markers, tokens, units to recreate individual battles or campaigns. You will be part of those campaigns, of those battles, and of all the Napoleonic era, becoming a Napoleon's soldier. You can become an individual soldier back in 1792, so during the revolutionary years, and you can evolve in the Republic, in the Empire, maybe reaching the ranks of Marshal of the Empire. This is a game which will be a card game in which you will try to create your own story, in which you will try to climb from a rank and file up to an officer rank, maybe a general or even higher. This is a game for 1 to 6 players, and it is also highly solitaire suitable. This is a game which the time of play should be somewhere between 240 and 480 minutes. It all depends on how the game evolves. The authors of this game are Richard Kane and Mike Rattler, and here a curiosity, one of the persons which is credited for the artwork is Theodore Géricault, because in this game we will find a lot of artwork made by Theodore Géricault in the 19th century, which will be presented on the cards representing some events or some depictings of how life looked like at the beginning of the 19th century and at the end of the 18th. So this is a very interesting design, very interesting game. I'm very eager to try it. But first, I'd like to open the box. I'd like to take a look at all the components. So let's do it together. Here is Legion of Honor. As you can see, a fantastic artwork on the box cover with a well presented information that this is a game thanks to which we can assume the role of a soldier in Napoleon's Grande Armée. An information that the time lapse is from 1792 to 1815, and that this is a card game. On the back side of the box you get one more very pretty, very climatic picture with this time, as I believe, the General LaSalle, and with an interesting quote: "A respectable hussar should not expect to live beyond the age of 30. And this might well be our fate while playing this game. We have also the opportunity to take a look at some of the components. We can also read the list, and we can also read what the game is all about. Now let's take a look inside and let's take a look at the components. Now the first component, as you can see, is a Grande Armée bulletin, but as you can see, my copy came well, not destroyed, but pretty much used. And to be clear, I opened this box 5 minutes ago to prepare the Polish unboxing. Now I'm doing the English one, and this is how I found this page. So that's a shame that this page was probably at the top of this, because because of the cards which were displaced during transport. This page is in the state that you can see. But I hope that this is not a big issue. I believe it's not a big issue. I would, of course, prefer a copy without this problem, but all the other elements, as I took a look a few moments ago, seem to be okay. Now, what this letter is all about, this is a bulletin of the grant of the French army from the 13th August 1792, signed by Lafayette. And this is how the game starts. This is how you enter this story. Reading this will be somewhat a start of your journey in this game. Now we receive 4 decks of cards, as you can see. 2 of them will have the same back, and those will be the cards used during campaigns. And as you can see, they will each have a picture and also an information on how to use them. For the moment, I do not absolutely know what those information mean, but that will become clear after reading the rules. The 2 other decks are the combat deck, which will be used, as I believe, during battles, during skirmishes, because we will be sharing the fate of Napoleon's armies. We will be marching through Europe. We will be battling, and will be taking part in the pivotal moments of the Napoleonic Wars. The 4th deck is the garrison deck, because it won't be only about fighting in this game. We'll also be living the soldier's life in garrisons or in towns where we will be at a present time sent at a present time by our superiors. We get 4 dice. As you can see, they are 10-sided dice, blue, white and red, so we get the French colors, and also 1 écrit, as I believe. It's not clear white, as you can see. I do not know if it meant to be white, or is it different on purpose. And then we get also additional sheets and additional documents. Now here is publicity for Amateur to Arms, or for Triumph of Chaos, over Clash of Arms. Very interesting titles. Then we get 2 documents. The first one will be the rule book. As you can see, a rule book in color, which is 26 pages long. We get also a table of contents at the beginning, an introduction, and a lot of rules which will govern each of the things important during gameplay. So a description of the components, then how to organize play, how will our assignments look like, how rounds will be played, and other rules governing, for instance, titles, fencing, duels, Legion of Honor. Look at the rules governing duels. They start on page 17 and they are up to page 20. So a lot of rules, because there will be different types of duels. For instance, duels with pistols, duels with swords, etc. So a lot of interesting information in here. The second booklet is the playbook, which has a list of optional rules, which can be additionally added to the core rules of the game. So we can, for instance, be sent to Spain, or we can also use rules governing mortal enemies or rescuing prisoners, battle command, and also the list of the scenarios. So you get the standard scenarios. We get also a dedicated part of this rule book governing solitaire play, and examples of play, which are always welcome, which are always interesting. I like games in which such examples are included. It's much easier to understand how the basic mechanics of a game work. Then we get sheets and counters. first of all a history sheet, and here, as you can see, a thing which is pretty exceptional is the fact that you won't get standard dates, you get the revolutionary calendar. So for instance, here the Battle of Austerlitz will be fought on year 7. So we'll have to get used to using the revolutionary calendar, because it was used during the Napoleonic period. So here we have a description of the major events which took place and which maybe will be also part of our own destiny during our careers. One set of counters, they are single-sided, as you can see white on the back. Those counters will be used to track different information about our stats, about maybe our mistresses or our friends, about our rank, about our distinctions, etc. So a lot of counters which will be put on different sheets, and here are those sheets. We get also a rules summary sheet with an information where to look for specific rules governing, for instance, retirement or safe comrade, etc. This is a double-sided summary starting from letter A and ending on with the letter Z. Then we get the second another sheet, this time the fate sheet, which includes, for instance, the wound table, because during the game we can be killed, we can be gravely wounded, severely wounded, badly wounded, or maybe just getting a scratch, with some additional tables which will also be used. The third sex sheet, which, as I believe, is used when playing with some optional rules. Here we get the names of some potential friends or mistresses. The Gronia sheet, which will indicate our rank, as I believe, or maybe our stats. I see that we get, for instance, the health stats, the charm stat, the fencing, standing, etc. So we'll be tracking each of those information using the counters shown before. We have also an opportunity sheet with events happening during the years during which the game takes place. So we get, for instance, the Battle of Waterloo at the end, and at the beginning we get the event concerning Louis XVI arrested. The assignment sheet, which will be used, as I believe, to indicate where we will be sent during different years of the campaign. So for instance, during year 8 we can be sent to 1st, the 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd or 7th Corps. We can be part of the Army of Helvetia during year 4, or maybe be part of Army of the North, etc. Another sheet is the campaign season sheet, which shows us again the campaign season, for instance, the War of the Third Coalition, the year, here using the standard calendar, sequence of rounds, event cards and notes. The battle command sheet, which will be used, as I believe, during battles, which will maybe show the French orders, and according to those orders and our place in the formation, some different things might happen. The French attack versus enemy defend, mission table, etc. All those additional tables, additional sheets will be used during specific events. We got also the ledger sheet, as you can see, a standard sheet and also paper sheets, which can be used in order to write information on them. We can track, for instance, experience, glory, money during our money in Paris, our money in purse, health, charm, fencing, standing. So we can track different information here, and we can also see the different ranks, raising from sergeant up to Maréchal de l'Empire if we are sufficiently lucky or sufficiently effective. And finally, at the bottom of the box, we get first of all a publicity for Against the Odds. This is a fantastic magazine. I strongly recommend you to try the games inside it. Some of them were also presented on Wojennik TV, for instance, Red Dragon, Blue Dragon, which is a pretty interesting game. And the last thing in this big box is also a game, an additional game. This is a game covering the siege of Alesia from 52 before Christ. So this is part of the War of Gaul when Vercingetorix was besieged by Julius Caesar in Alesia. This was a major Roman victory, which pretty much ended the conquest of Gaul. So this is always a nice addition. And that's it when it comes to the components of Legion of Honor. I'd like now to tell you a few words about my initial impressions. At the beginning of this video, I have already said that I am a huge fan of the Napoleonic era. I always dreamed of playing a game or living an adventure set in during the Napoleonic Wars, becoming a soldier and then maybe becoming a general, taking my own troops into battle, living this period from the inside. And this is a game, Legion of Honor is such a game which probably will enable me to live such an adventure. So I'm extremely thrilled to try it. This game is also highly solitaire suitable, so it's once more another aspect which really makes me want to play this game. I find the components enclosed in the box really attractive, really appealing. A lot of chrome is in there because we receive information about historical events. We can participate in battles, in duels. We can encounter persons living during this period. So this is full of chrome, and I'm very anxious to try the game. What I do not like is the fact that my bulletin of the Grande Armée came wrinkled. It was placed at the top of the box, so it was, due to the size of this box, wrinkled by the card decks, which are the most heavy part of this game. But fortunately, this is not something which will have any impact on gameplay. This is not a component which is absolutely crucial in order to play. So this is just a small issue, but I always prefer to receive games which are 100% okay. This is not the case. Now, I will present this game once again on our channel, both in Polish and in English, during a future review. So up until then, I invite you to take a look at our other movies. We have also other unboxings and reviews in English. Take a look also at our Facebook and Instagram accounts. Have a fantastic day and see you next time.